movie that tries to explain time travel. Written and directed by Carruth. Now, Primer is essentially about these four guys, led by Aaron, the writer and director of the movie Carruth, and they are building a time machine in Aaron's garage. And it goes through all the trials and tribulations of getting this machine to be fully operational, and also balance the egos of the two main characters, while 100% of the movie focusing on the specifics of what is going on. Now, this whole project is pretty much kept secret, except for one guy who's funding the project, but everyone else around their lives has no idea this is happening. But what this movie really is about is a study of the mechanics of time travel, and all the messy, fuzzy timeline stuff that comes with time travel. And the main reason I'm interested in seeing this movie is that Carruth has another movie coming out later this year called Upstream Color. I saw the trailer and wanted to know the director's past work, see what kind of filmmaking style he had. And I was excited about watching this movie because apparently this movie has a pretty big cult following. And I can see why, because this is the kind of movie you watch once and then immediately want to watch it again because you just can't understand it. If you go into this movie and absolutely 100% understand everything that has been thrown at your face, you're lying. You are inhuman. You are dumb. Yeah, that's right. You're dumb for being so smart. It's basically impossible to understand the first 10 minutes of this movie because it is basically four guys standing around talking about time travel in the most business-as-usual way possible. But the movie doesn't present that material in a boring way. It presents it in a way that keeps you intrigued, that keeps you want to keep watching. And as the movie goes on, it gets more and more intriguing. You start to get into these characters, you start to get hints of what kind of people they are. Mainly the two main characters, Abe and Aaron. 90% of this movie focuses on the specifics of time travel, and it almost never strays from that. Now let me repeat that. The specifics of time travel. This is not a simple movie to understand. I cannot stress that enough. The movie never focuses on the big picture. It's almost as if the entirety of the movie is the camera pointed at a blueprint of the time machine, but with a kind of detached personality to it. Some of the stuff that is on that blueprint you don't understand, and some stuff you kind of understand, but it doesn't really give you the whole message. And this movie feels like a blueprint. It feels like this movie is an experiment, because the way this movie is presented feels like it should be watched by scientists and people who study time travel. When I was watching this movie, I was trying my hardest to grasp onto something that I could understand. And the movie as a whole, I barely understood it, but it was great. This movie is very suspenseful. Let me rephrase that. This movie can be suspenseful if you can follow the plot with your mind completely clear. Completely clear. Just forget everything that ever happened in your life and focus on this movie. Now, this, in my opinion, is one of the best movies about time travel because it tries to explain the main topic at hand while also having a central story. There's so much stuff the main characters are discussing, and you don't understand about 90% of it, but it's the visuals that are so compelling. The cinematography in this movie is amazing. Now, with all this time travel jargon that's being thrown at your face and you barely not grasping onto anything, this movie is not boring at all. This movie is brisk. It moves at a very quick pace. It's 77 minutes long, I think. Now, perhaps the best part of this movie is the ideas it puts forward. This movie has so many things to say about time travel, even though you probably can't understand half of it. How it works, what the consequences are. This movie presents its material in such an endlessly intriguing way. It's so well edited. For me, the movie never hit a false note in its story delivery because you can't understand everything that is going on. It's impossible. You can't. You grasp onto the first thing you see, and you hope for the best that it can carry you through the rest of the movie. And sometimes it does, and sometimes that lead kind of drops you into a ditch. Basically what I'm trying to say is this movie is hard to follow, but not hard to watch. Now, this movie does have a problem or two, and I'll list them. The acting isn't exactly the best. I feel like some of the lines that are delivered don't really feel genuine. They don't really feel authentic, even though the writer and director of the movie is the main character. Don't get me wrong, it's a good script, the writing is really good, but it's just the line delivery from the actors that don't really feel convincing. This movie is not for everyone, and I can totally understand that, because I can imagine somebody walking out of this movie and be like, God f***ing damn it, what is going on? But for me, at least, I found this movie to be truly compelling and very intriguing, even though I could barely understand it. Now, the way I rate movies is I usually give them a letter grade, and also a number rating. That's how I've always been doing, and that's how I'll do it for the rest of my days. I give Primer an A- 4.5 out of 5. This is one of the most original and most intriguing science fiction movies I've seen in a while. Primer is instant on Netflix, and I recommend you check it out.